Good morning. Welcome to this special edition of Coffee Talk. I'm Mark Bradberry. Why not grab a cup and join me this morning? Today happens to be Good Friday. The Friday before Easter. It is definitely a day of good news. But good news does seem to be in short supply these days, particularly in the public arena. Bad news seems to dominate. Criticism abound. Hatred is magnified by the sender and then directed toward the supposed target. If the story's not good enough, or maybe if it doesn't reflect the prevailing relativistic woke view, it gets subtly shifted to make more of a splash. Why do they do this? Well, let me tell you. It's very, very, very simple. And if you don't get it, you might just be naive. Here it is. Bad news sells. That's right. People are drawn to bad news like moths to a flame. We find it exciting. We find it titillating. We find that it leads to stirring and dynamic conversation, and we feed on it like hogs at a trough of slop. In steady supply, bad news creates anxiety and fear and inward focus. It makes for gossip. It leads to misinformed actions based on misleading information. What's worse, that is, when you're fed a steady diet of bad news and wrongful spin, well, you'll eventually begin to absorb it and believe it and act on it, never quite realizing how far you've changed and how corrupted you may have become until it's gone too far. The right then becomes the wrong, and the wrong becomes the right. We refer to such a campaign of bad news and misinformation by one simple word: indoctrination. You're slowly becoming conformed to the world. At a personal level, I have to manage my own proclivity toward delivering bad news. Think about this. When someone asks you, "How's it going?" Do you respond with a smile and you say, "Wow, things are actually absolutely wonderful"? Or is it your tendency to start listing out all of your problems and frustrations, the details of your latest doctor visit, the fuss you had with your coworker, and all sorts of other bad things? The next thing you know, you've been drawn into a good deep conversation in which you're just swapping gripes and frustrations and belly aches that actually lead nowhere. And though you commiserated to get a few things off your chest, you walk away still feeling a little bleh. Negative sticks to you like stepping on a slug barefoot in the summertime. And if you keep on being negative, you're just going to lose friends and gain enemies. Now, I said this Coffee Talk is a special edition, and so it is. I'm visiting in Texas this weekend with my daughter. Very happy to be here. But before I left home, I had my next Coffee Talk all written out, edited, and ready to go. And along with some other documents, I had transferred it over to a thumb drive for my computer so that I could work on some things while I traveled. Well, I was at 35,000 feet, somewhere high over Mississippi, when I discovered that I had left the thumb drive plugged into my computer at home. Ugh. Funny story. Yeah, great irony. Ha ha de da. Yeah, but I was bemoaning my state when I realized that, wait a minute, this is not the end of the world. I can get through this. There's actually a lot of good here. I'm going to spend some quality time with my daughter. I'm healthy and I'm fit and I'm able to travel. I have lots of friends. I exchanged some, some very nice pleasantries with the flight attendants as I was getting on and getting off the airplane. And you know what? God used the situation to prompt me to remember something very, very important that I had, just to reintroduce into my own mindset. Goodness. Goodness. And it led me to actually sit down and write what you're hearing today in actually less than an hour. You know, the Apostle Peter wrote some very important words, some great wisdom many centuries ago. Now, the very first thing that I need to add to my faith is goodness. But we tend to overlook its necessity and its impact in our lives. You know, I need goodness in the other disciplines in my life because, well, the negativism and the evil desires will make me ineffective, unproductive, nearsighted, blind, and forgetful of the fact that I have already overcome the world through God's loving kindness, you know, through the deliverance that was made possible by Christ. Jesus Christ, who 2,000 years ago on this day we Christians now celebrate as Good Friday, he gave his life as a sacrifice for yours, and who the following Sunday morning rose bodily from the dead. Friends, that's some really good news. Remember your blessings today. Share with others what is good and true from your heart and your life. Lift up. Don't tear down. Don't conform to the negative. Be transformed with goodness. And enjoy your coffee.